as we get started, I mean, you have just broken through all of these different glass ceilings, and as we bring it into today, how does MGM Resorts support women entrepreneurs and WBEs?
Well, we have a very strong supplier diversity initiative in both procurement of goods or products and services, and also in our construction projects. And the reason we do it is this. We are committed to the concept of inclusion. And we try to practice it not only internally within our company, but it is important that all of our business operations reflect that as well. And we know that for too long, the game was not inclusive, and it's important to us to open our channels of commerce up to new competitors, new vendors, including women vendors, who can provide to us the quality of products, the quality of services that we are interested in at competitive prices. And it benefits us if we have a wider pool of potential vendors, because that promotes quality competition and price competition. That's what we get out of it. Plus, I have to say that when we are able to bring a company along that's a small company and watch it grow, that's gratifying to us. So we have some selfish reasons for wanting to do it, aside from the fact that it's the right thing to do, but at the end of the day, it makes good business sense for us. And we're a publicly held company. We are accountable to shareholders. And so we're constantly out there trying to find vendors who can help us do a better job at what we do.
That is fantastic. So how many of you, your minds are reeling when you're hearing that? Some of the very things that we have been talking about for days or weeks or months, if you're a part of my tribe, right? So it's fabulous to be able to hear this from such an incredible and respectful organization, but also from the C-suite. So do you suggest that women, WBEs, be certified as a woman in minority-owned business?
Well, I think it depends on what your target client base is. In our case, we do prefer that women and other diverse businesses, whether they are minority-owned or LGBT-owned or veterans-owned or owned by persons with disabilities, we would like our businesses to become certified, because it allows us to track how we're doing in terms of our inclusion of non-traditional vendors in our supply chain. And so we would prefer that. We are, as you mentioned earlier today in our lunch conversation, Kelly, I don't know if you mentioned it to our office, in our conference earlier today, but over the last 3 years, we have spent an average of about $50 million with women-owned business enterprises. And we're very proud of that. And we're always looking for the next great woman company.
Wow.
So, I brought along a little show and tell.
Oh, cool.
So you're probably going to ask me some examples, but this is an example of a product that we sell in our shops by a woman-owned business. And so every woman in here can relate to the fact that you may start off the day in high heels or a function in high heels, but at some point those heels have to come off. and it may be before you can get home. And so wouldn't you like to have just these little roll-up slippers
Yes.
that you can carry in your purse and take them out when you need them, etc.? Well, I want to introduce Kenyatta Lewis. Stand up, Kenyatta. So Kenyatta is our Executive Director of Supplier Diversity, and she finds these great businesses who have these great products. And so there is a woman-owned business who supplies these to our shops, and they are extremely popular.
Wow. That is fantastic. These are great. And I like that they can really roll up and be contact packed. That's pretty cool.
Right.
So Phyllis just said something. Let's see if you caught it. Who did she just introduce? And what does Kenyatta do? Is that important to you? Why? There you go. Yes, she is your key decision maker.
Well, let me tell you why Kenyatta is important, because she may not make the decision on whether or not you eventually are signed up as a vendor, but she is a window into our corporation. Mm-hmm. Every year we spend about $1.6 billion in biddable goods. That is, goods that we can bid for. There's a whole sector of what we spend that we can't bid for because there's only one supplier. For instance, utilities. We cannot bid for utility services as an example of that. But for what we can procure through a competitive process, that's the $1.6 billion. And our company is big and complex. We have over 17 properties, about 11 of which are here on the Las Vegas Strip. And so someone asked me, is it better to try to talk to Kenyatta, or is it better to try to reach the buyers or the people who make purchasing decisions for all those properties? And you do the math. How successful do you think you're going to be, really, at getting into contact with the people you need to know who make the decisions for all those properties? Probably not very successful. So Kenyatta can, first off, I'll be honest, she's a businesswoman, so she's going to vet candidates for business with us. Do you provide what our company is looking for? And do you have a track record? What's your track record for reliability, etc.? Are you certified? She's going to give you, I would say, the guidance on all of those scores. And it matters that somebody like her kind of gives you a pre-screening, because she knows what our buyers are looking for. And if you can't meet her scrutiny, you're never going to meet the scrutiny of our buyers. But she can also point you to opportunities for where someone may be looking for your product or your service in our business. So she is a key contact.
I love that. So that all of you don't mob Kenyatta at the break.
You notice how I just shifted that over there?
Deflect. Proceed or pivot, right? How many women-owned businesses that are certified are in the room right now? Raise your hand. Okay, fantastic. And LaTanya, I know that you do certify businesses, and in fact, so that's a great thing. So, some of my questions were, so who would we talk to? How would we get in? Because, of course, they're all asking, how would we do business with a company like MGM Resorts? What they're really asking is, oh, my goodness, you're here. It's one thing to meet and hear one decision maker. or one key contact. There's a few of them in the room. And so it's very appealing or intriguing to get inside the mind of a decision maker or a key contact to find out how that works. So you just shared that, so thank you so much. What are some of the strengths and what are some of the weaknesses that you avoid when looking at a vendor? So what are some of the strengths that you like?
Well, first off, it is important to have a quality product or service. And believe it or not, everybody doesn't have that. And that is just fundamental. If you don't have something that you can really sell, then you shouldn't waste your time or the company client's time. Secondly, it is interesting to me, you really need to go through some prep work to make sure that you are presenting your best self and your best business. So for instance, every contact that you make with the company matters. How you talk to people that you come into contact with. What you submit to us in writing matters. If it's full of spelling errors, do we think that you are at the level of professionalism that is qualified to do business with us? That matters a great deal. Realism about what you have to offer us. We sometimes have people come and say, well, I'm a woman-owned business, here I am. And so, and our next question is, and what? I mean, just the fact that you're woman-owned is not persuasive. If it was at one time, it no longer is. Because, believe it or not, there are many, many women-owned businesses out there, and there is keen competition. So, what is your track record in terms of how you have conducted your business before you come to us? Are you reliable? Do you tell the truth about what you have done previously? You would be amazed at what an inconsistency there is sometimes between what is represented to us about a company, and then we do reference checks and what the references have to say. And it matters. We partner with a number of organizations that consist of their advocacy groups for women business entrepreneurs, like NAWBO, like NAWIC, like WeBank. And so being a member in those organizations can be helpful. That may help you get your reputation around, and we know people in those organizations, etc. And then I just say a couple of other things. Persistence. You may not get a contract first time around, but does that mean you're a failure? Does that mean that you should not try again? No, it does not. And there are people who will tell you, I had to compete 4 or 5 times before I got my foot in the door. It doesn't always happen the first time or the second time around. But those were some of the lessons I would say. Because I am a lawyer, I have had to be involved in some of the, quote, troublesome situations, so I know what some of the no-nos are. And I would say lack of good quality product or service. Let's be real. You need to just be utterly honest about what your product is vis-a-vis the rest of the marketplace. And don't come in expecting that, well, they have a quota to fill, so I know that they're going to hire me. We don't have quotas. We pick the best people for what we think is best for our business, and we are inclusive. But, it matters how you talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
We have had some people come in, and they're quite antagonistic. You should want to do business with me because I'm this or I'm that.
I
That
can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine, unfortunately.
Kenyatta
'Cause I
will
sat on your
probably
side of the
tell
house.
you she's seen the whole gamut. And
That's
as I
crazy.
said, as a lawyer, I have seen some of that. And don't never say, I know your chairman, or I know somebody who knows your chairman. And if, I will talk to the people that I know. Trust me, you would be amazed at what some people do or say. And so I think that, one of the things we have encountered is people not doing their homework. They don't do their homework about their product, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know their product inside out, its capabilities, and why does it bring value to MGM Resorts. If you can't answer that question, then why are you at our doorstep? Because it's all about bringing value to your client. We've had some people kind of not know the basics of doing business, like how do you present a proposal? How do you conduct yourself in an interview? How do you show up looking and acting at the interview? We've had people flunk all of those tests, and that means they did not prepare. They didn't study hard, and they didn't do their homework. And last but not least, know something about our business. Know something about the client you are trying to market to. And never mistake us for the business down the street or across the street.
That's right. Wow, some great lessons. So I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
They're not on our list, one, but it's a gentle question.
Oh,
I know you can
okay.
handle it, believe me.
Okay.
So, one is, I know they're all thinking, well, when we call the key contact or we call a key decision maker, the question is, how do you not get deleted? Like, what is it that causes you to call back? And so I know that's a burning question because I cold called you.
Well, I will tell you what causes you to call back.
What causes a decision
Well, I
maker
will
or
tell
a key
you,
contact to call back a vendor or partner?
passion.
Ah,
The reason I am here today is because of the passion that Kelly conveyed to me about wanting me to come here. As I said, I may not be my own biggest fan. Maybe I am deep down inside or something, because I've always had to be self-reliant. But the people who know me know I don't want to talk about myself. I never want to have a story about myself, because there's usually something really great that our company is doing, that the people of our company are doing. We have sensational employees, and they're the story, really. I'm a facilitator. I try to make it possible for them to do their best, to shine, to do the extraordinary things that they do. That's what I'm supposed to do as a C-suite executive. But Kelly, maybe she gave me the hard sell, I don't know. But
'cause I'm such a toughie.
she said, I really want you to do this. And let me tell you why this would be important for my audience. And so it was the passion of her presentation, the fact that she believed in her vision, and what this could do for other people that persuaded me. And so when you are marketing your product, I think that what helps, you need to try to find that thing about what you provide that differentiates you from your competition. What is it that you are passionate about your product or service? And again, I go back to the value proposition. If you cannot articulate to MGM Resorts why you should be the person that we're interested in versus Sally or Joe down the street, then if you can't tell me, how am I supposed to know? And guess what? We have thousands of Sallys and Joes who want to sell something, so we're not going to spend a lot of time doing a lot of homework to say, well, why should we care about Kelly's product?
Right. Exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for that feedback too. But just honored to have you here. So I would love for you to share what are some of, if you can, like within reason, some of the key initiatives that are on the table for the MGM Resorts in 2015. What's on deck for the next year and into the next couple of 3 years?
Well, we're going to keep doing what we do as a business. We are constantly on the move, trying to look for new opportunities, trying to grow. Right now, we're focusing on trying to open a new casino resort in National Harbor, which is right across the river from Washington, D.C., where I grew up. We're also trying to expand into Massachusetts. As a gaming resort company, we can only operate where gaming is legally authorized. And so as our business grows, we have a constant need for goods and services to help us in all of that.
Whoops.
So
that's a sea level. That's a whoops.
yeah, that's.
Did you ever see The Devil Wears Prada? I'm going to interject 1 second. When she instantly calls the trunk show, and like only one time did Meryl Streep, but if she purses the lip, like you're done. The whoops is like the pursing of the lip.
Right. Yeah. If you ever get an interview with a buyer, don't have your phone doing that. No, everything matters. Everything matters. So, so as I said, I mean, we don't just have one new initiative. We are constantly on the lookout for new vendors, new products, and since we practice inclusion, we're always on the lookout for diverse businesses that we can include in our commerce stream. So I wouldn't say, Kelly, and as I said before, we don't have a rigid quota. Like we spend this much with diverse businesses and we're not going to spend a penny more. That's not how we operate. So I wouldn't say we have one new initiative on the horizon. We are looking for businesses that we can include, and typically speaking, many times when we establish a relationship with the business, and I want to mention this because this is very important. You should treat, if you receive a contract, don't look at it as a one-time transaction. I think it's important to try to approach it from a long-term perspective because most of our business is repeat business from vendors that we have had before. And so you are trying to sell a product, but you're also trying to build a relationship with our company and all of the things that matter in a relationship: trustworthiness, integrity, reliability, and are you a good business partner? And sometimes people make the mistake of putting it all on that one little contract, and if there's a hiccup, then they want to grab for the brass ring and forget about tomorrow. Sometimes in business, you've got to be flexible. And if something doesn't go right there, trust me, Kenyatta has had this experience. When she takes you under her wing, she looks out. And she said, well, we may not be able to do this, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. Let's look over here. And that's one of the things I really admire about our executive director of supplier diversity. She is resourceful and she is committed to inclusion in our procurement process. And she has helped so many businesses grow from the one-time contract to repeat business, and it's the repeat business that you need to grow into a bigger and a better business enterprise.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of those pieces. You know, and it's fascinating because Phyllis is talking about, you know, everything matters and build a relationship, which is much about what we've talked about this weekend so far, correct? And there are trigger events. There are key initiatives. We talked about the domino effect where
Yes.
everything can be a go and then all of a sudden it may impact other initiatives within the organization. And if in fact this one original contract or project is going to happen, it may impact something new that has come on the table. So just remember that in a company, that key contact, that decision maker, you may be getting ready to do business with them, or it's like a referral network within. Perhaps, you know, I'm in corporate, I may not be able to do business. I like you. I was thinking we would do business. No, it's going to impact other initiatives that are burning much brighter and the fires are hot, and there are several of them in corporate. However, I like you so much. I see what you're doing. I see how it can help our people, our teams, our external clients. I want to refer you to another department because I know that they are looking for someone like you.
Right.
Does that happen at
Correct.
the MGM, I'm sure?
Yes, yes, absolutely.